Welcome back to Mass Appeal. When properly taking care of a bonsai tree, it can last you a lifetime, and it can fill you in with a whole lot of fun too. And joining us with a lesson is Doug Taylor. He's president of the Bonsai Society of Greater Springfield. And the first thing that we need to talk about is the misconception. So how do you pronounce this art?
It's bonsai.
Bonsai.
Like a bone, like your elbow, bone, and sai. Bonsai.
Bonsai. And another misconception is the tree is specifically a bonsai tree.
Yeah.
It's not the tree.
It's not the tree. You can make a bonsai pretty much out of any species of tree. A lot of people think of junipers like they see in the Karate Kid movie as a bonsai, or like you see at the mall. But actually you can make it out of any kind of tree. This is an American larch, this is a boxwood, that's an azalea, that's a Japanese maple.
But the thing that they have all in common is that they're bonsai.
They're all bonsai.
So it's an art, is that right?
It is an art form. And the word bonsai, the word bone, means a tray or a pot.
And that's in Japanese, correct?
That's in Japanese, yeah. And the word sai means to plant in it. So a tree in a pot is a bonsai. But we like to add to that definition with artistic styling. It's just any house plant is not truly a bonsai. It needs some artistic styling.
So that's where the fun and the skill and the care and the craft comes in.
Exactly.
So how does one care for a bonsai tree, and when does it go from houseplant to bonsai?
It's really up to the artist to decide when they put it into the bonsai pot. And that's one of the last steps you do in creating the bonsai is put it into the bonsai pot. A lot of the development is either done in the ground or in big growing containers, but then you move it into a pot and that's when it's actually a bonsai. The most important care thing is watering. You miss a couple of days of watering it in the summertime and these trees are gone. There's trees in our national collection that are more than 600 years old that have been cared for generation after generation in Japan, and then they were gifted to us. So with proper care, they can live multiple generations, more than one person's lifetime.
Now let's talk a little bit more about that care, because it seems to me like every single branch and leaf is a well manicured and thought out decision.
Yes, and they really are. We actually put little wires on every little twig. If you looked up underneath these branches, every little branch has its own little space in the sun. I can actually tilt that tree and I can sort of show you.
And so what this means
then... So if you
then...
look at all these little twigs, everything is positioned perfectly.
So basically that means you're dictating the way that you want it to grow.
Exactly. And if one branch is right over the other branch, this branch is going to get shaded out and die. So what we do is we put wire on the branches. We'll move this one over and this one over so they both get sun and they both survive.
It seems like a relatively complex art, but it doesn't have to be, because you're a part of the Bonsai Association of Greater Springfield, so you can help teach people all of these arts.
Exactly. There's a lot to it. Every species of tree has little tricks and techniques that we use that's different. You don't treat a larch like you treat a Japanese maple. So there's so much to learn. We formed a club where we help each other learn all these different techniques.
Talk about what you get from it and what you enjoy when it comes to this art.
Well, really the best part of my day is early morning. I go out and water the trees, especially in these summer mornings when it's kind of cool out, spraying the water on the trees and sort of inspecting and visiting with all my trees. It's sort of very meditative, relaxing. It's a wonderful part of the day. Another part is that transition from being a containerized plant in a nursery pot or in the ground, moving it to a bonsai pot, and finally conquering that hurdle where it's finally developed like that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the history, because it did really come from an art of meditation in both China and Japan, is that right?
Yeah, it originated in China, but then it moved to Japan, and then the Japanese evolved it to make it more minimalistic and more natural. The Chinese style is a little bit more crazy. The trees can look like a dragon or a snake.
And I know also in the Chinese style, sometimes you have those gardens where it's sand and you can place rocks well, and you can feng shui the way that the sand is created.
Yeah, that's just a little Japanese stone garden or sand garden. Usually the Chinese penjing, or the Chinese form of bonsai, is more a landscape with stones and stuff, with trees, but they often have little people, bridges, pagodas, and buildings and things like that. They don't really do that in Chinese,
Simple.
Japanese.
It's just about the tree. That's
Just-
where all the
it's
attention
all
is.
about the tree.
Now,
yeah.
unfortunately, we're out of time, but if people are interested in learning more, they can always contact you. But you have an
Yeah.
event coming up in Hartford, a different
Yes.
society, but with
Yeah.
the same goal.
The Greater Hartford Bonsai Show puts on a big show at the Elizabeth Park Pond House in Hartford, and it's July 12th and 13th. So please come and see the show. They have 100 wonderful, beautiful old bonsai trees.
It seems like a really relaxing, meditative art that, especially in the summertime when everything's growing,
Yeah.
is simple and fun and nice. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing it with us
Welcome.
today.
Thank you.
And if you want more information, just go to mymassappeal.com a little bit later today.